Welcome to our channel HD Rare Coin111, your go-to spot for uncovering the incredible world of rare US coins. If you've ever wondered if your old pennies, nickels, or dimes are worth more than face value, you're about to find out. In today's video, we'll be exploring some truly rare coins and their shocking values. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. So let's jump in. Top 1. Have you ever looked at a nickel and thought it could change your life? Probably not. After all, 5 cents isn't much in today's world. But what if I told you that a seemingly ordinary nickel from 1964, the Jefferson 5-cent piece, could actually be worth more than most luxury cars? Yes, it's true. Hidden in drawers, tucked in forgotten coin jars, or rolling unnoticed in circulation could be a 1964 Jefferson nickel with the power to shock collectors and reward its finder with a small fortune. This unassuming coin carries a story filled with history, mystery, and rarity, and today we're diving deep into what makes the 1964 Jefferson nickel so special, and how one single coin sold for an unbelievable sum that'll make you think twice before ignoring the change in your pocket. The Jefferson nickel first entered circulation in 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel. It featured a new design with the image of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his iconic home, Monticello, on the reverse. It remained a staple of American pocket change for decades, and by 1964, it had become one of the most widely minted coins in the country. In fact, that year holds a record for the largest number of nickels ever produced at the time. More than 1.7 billion coins were struck between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. So how does a coin from such a massive mintage year become rare, let alone valuable? Well, that's where the story gets really interesting. First, we have to look at the historical context. The early 1960s were a time of coin shortages across the United States. The U.S. Mint ramped up production of coins to meet demand, especially the lower denominations like nickels. But with high production came opportunities for errors, oversights, and anomalies. And it's exactly those anomalies that have captured the attention of collectors. While most 1964 nickels were minted without any issues, a small number possess characteristics that set them apart from the billions of others. These include striking errors, rare die varieties, and transitional mistakes that only the most trained eyes can identify. Among the most sought-after versions of the 1964 Jefferson nickel are those struck with full steps on Monticello. These full-step nickels are incredibly rare because the dies used to strike coins that year quickly wore down due to overuse. Finding a 1964 nickel with all 5 or 6 steps on Monticello clearly visible is a huge challenge, making such specimens highly prized. Then there are the rare doubled die errors, where inscriptions or parts of Jefferson's portrait appear doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. These mistakes are incredibly valuable because they're rare and easily identifiable, making them the dream of any serious numismatist. But there's more. There have been whispers and rumors of experimental planchets and transitional errors, cases where coins were struck using incorrect metal compositions due to changes happening behind the scenes at the U.S. Mint. If even a few nickels were struck using leftover silver or other alloy materials, they could become some of the rarest coins ever made. These coins often escape the mint undetected and end up in circulation like any other nickel. It's only years later, after careful study and analysis, that their true value is revealed. Imagine having a coin like that sitting unnoticed in a collection, or hiding at the bottom of a coin jar for decades, only to be discovered and sold at a major auction. That's exactly what happened with one particular 1964 Jefferson nickel. It wasn't just its age or design that made it valuable. It was a combination of its flawless condition, full steps, and a very rare minting error that catapulted its value into another realm. After intense bidding from collectors and investors, this little 5-cent piece shocked everyone when it fetched the astonishing price of $130,000. Just think about that. A nickel, originally worth only 5 cents, sold for more than some homes, all because of its rarity, condition, and place in American history. So, the next time you see a 1964 Jefferson nickel, don't brush it off. Look closely. Check the details. Examine Monticello's steps. Inspect for doubling. You never know, what seems like ordinary pocket change could actually be your hidden treasure, waiting patiently for its moment to shine. Top 2. What if I told you that sitting quietly in a coin jar, forgotten in a desk drawer, or rattling around in someone's pocket change is a 5-cent coin from 1975 that could be worth more than a luxury car? That's not an exaggeration, it's the fascinating reality behind the 1975 Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it looks like any other nickel you'd find in circulation. It's small, common, and made from a simple copper-nickel alloy. But hidden among the billions of ordinary nickels minted that year are a handful of coins that are anything but ordinary. These special coins possess unique characteristics that have turned them into modern-day treasures, highly sought after by collectors, and capable of selling for prices that defy belief. Today, we're going to unravel the incredible story of the 1975 Jefferson 5-cent coin, and why one in particular was valued at a staggering amount by collectors who knew exactly what to look for. The Jefferson nickel has long been a familiar part of American currency. Introduced in 1938, this coin replaced the iconic Buffalo nickel and introduced a new design featuring the face of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. The design remained mostly unchanged for decades, and by 1975, it had become a staple in pockets and cash registers across the country. Over 400 million nickels were produced that year at the Philadelphia and Denver mints combined, making it seem like these coins should be common and unremarkable. But in the world of numismatics, the study and collecting of coins, rarity isn't always about mintage numbers. It's about condition, striking details, and the ever-exciting world of mint errors and variations. Among collectors, one of the most sought-after features of a Jefferson nickel is the presence of full steps on the reverse side of the coin. Monticello's front steps are notoriously difficult to strike clearly due to the way the dies wear out over time. So when a coin is discovered that displays all 5 or 6 steps in sharp, uninterrupted detail, it becomes a rarity. In 1975, the full steps versions are particularly hard to find, because the mint was working under pressure to produce a high volume of coins quickly. That led to many coins being struck with worn dies, resulting in weaker detail and less clarity, especially in the area of Monticello's steps. Finding a coin from 1975 with fully defined steps is like discovering a needle in a haystack. But there's more. The 1970s were an era of transitions and experimentation at the U.S. Mint. Throughout the decade, minting technology was evolving, and quality control was constantly being refined. That led to an increase in mint errors, accidental double strikes, die clashes, off-center strikes, and wrong planchet errors that slipped past inspectors and entered circulation. These types of mint errors are the holy grail for collectors. They transform everyday coins into one-of-a-kind pieces of American history, each with a unique story. And in the case of the 1975 Jefferson nickel, a few of these error coins have been authenticated and graded by major numismatic organizations, adding an extra layer of rarity and value. What truly sets these rare nickels apart, though, is their condition. Most coins that have been circulated show signs of wear, scratches, nicks, and fading of the finer details. But when a coin is discovered in near-perfect condition, preserved as if it just left the mint, it becomes exponentially more valuable. Known as mint state, or MS condition, these coins often command sky-high prices at auctions, especially when paired with rare features like full steps or dramatic minting errors. Combine that with the already low survival rate of pristine 1975 nickels, and you have a perfect storm of rarity, historical significance, and collector demand. And that brings us to one of the most jaw-dropping sales in recent numismatic history. A 1975 Jefferson nickel, preserved in exceptional condition and displaying the coveted full steps on Monticello, crossed the auction block and stunned everyone in the room. After an intense round of bidding from seasoned collectors who understood the coin's importance, it sold for the incredible sum of $95,000. That's right, what started as a 5-cent piece became a financial windfall for its owner, all because of its pristine state and historical rarity. So the next time you come across an old nickel, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Examine the steps on Monticello. Look for any unusual features, doubling, or off-center designs. You never know, you could be holding a hidden gem, a valuable slice of American history waiting to be discovered. And just like that 1975 nickel, your small change could be worth a fortune. Top 3. Have you ever glanced at a simple nickel in your pocket and thought it might change your life? Most people see 5 cents and think it's just that, small change. But in the world of rare coins, sometimes that tiny coin can hold a value you'd never expect. Today, we're diving deep into the story of one such ordinary-looking yet extraordinarily valuable coin, the United States of America Jefferson nickel from the year 1985. It's a coin millions of people use for vending machines, parking meters, or forgot about in jars and drawers. But for those who truly understand the secrets of numismatics, the 1985 Jefferson nickel isn't just pocket change, it's a quiet legend with a price tag that will blow your mind. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American currency since 1938, when it replaced the beloved Buffalo nickel. The design, featuring President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his historic Monticello home on the reverse, was meant to reflect the ideals of democracy and liberty. By 1985, this coin had already seen nearly 5 decades of circulation, and though it remained largely unchanged in appearance, the quality of its production varied dramatically. In that year alone, the Philadelphia and Denver mints struck hundreds of millions of these coins. But here's the twist: not all 1985 Jefferson nickels are created equal. Among the massive piles of coins churned out that year, a select few possess characteristics so rare and desirable that they've skyrocketed in value to truly unbelievable levels. What makes a 1985 nickel so valuable? It begins with condition. Most coins endure the rough life of daily circulation. They get scratched, dented, worn, and tossed around without care. But every once in a while, a coin escapes that fate. It's pulled aside by a sharp-eyed collector or sealed away fresh from the mint, never touching another coin. These are known as mint state coins, and they are graded on a 70-point scale, with coins in the upper 60s considered elite. A 1985 Jefferson nickel in such high grade is exceptionally rare. But combine that with a flawless strike, where every detail of Jefferson's portrait and every tiny line of Monticello is crisply defined, and now you have something truly special. Even rarer are the so-called full steps nickels. These coins show the stairs in front of Monticello in complete detail, a feature that's hard to achieve due to the wear and fatigue that minting dies experience over time. For a 1985 nickel to have full steps and remain in pristine condition is like hitting the coin collector's lottery. Only a handful have ever been found in such condition, and they are aggressively pursued by elite collectors and numismatic institutions. Then come the mint errors, striking anomalies like off-center images, double strikes, wrong planchet errors, and more. These mistakes might seem minor to the average person, but in the collector world, they are fascinating and valuable. If a 1985 nickel displays one of these rare minting mistakes and remains in mint state with full steps, its value jumps even higher. But beyond condition and errors, the demand for 1985 Jefferson nickels comes from history and nostalgia. The 1980s were a time of change in the U.S., with economic shifts, evolving technology, and a growing appreciation for things from earlier decades. Collectors today often seek coins from this era as a way to preserve a piece of their past. And since the Jefferson nickel remained mostly the same for decades, finding one with distinct qualities from a specific year becomes a thrilling quest. It's that personal connection, that sense of finding something from your childhood or your parents' generation in perfect form, that drives demand and increases value. Now imagine this: a coin that once rested unnoticed in a change drawer, a coin so common it blended into the background of everyday life, is discovered by a collector with a keen eye. It's carefully examined, submitted to a professional grading service, and authenticated as a rare full steps, mint state Jefferson nickel with no flaws, no wear, and perfect detail. Suddenly, this humble 5-cent piece is no longer common, it's a star. And when it hit the auction block, serious collectors knew what they were looking at. Bidding was fierce, and as the auctioneer's gavel came down, the price reached a figure that no one outside the numismatic world would ever expect. That single 1985 Jefferson nickel was sold for an astonishing $75,000. That's right, a nickel worth $75,000. So before you brush off your pocket change as worthless, take a second look. Get out the magnifying glass, check the condition, examine Monticello's steps, and keep an eye out for anything unusual. Because buried in ordinary-looking coins might be a rare gem waiting to be discovered, one that could turn your spare change into a life-changing treasure. The world of coins is full of hidden surprises, and the story of the 1985 Jefferson nickel is proof that sometimes 5 cents can be worth a fortune. Top 4. Have you ever reached into your pocket, pulled out a handful of change, and casually glanced at a nickel, never giving it a second thought? Most of us do this every day without realizing that among those common coins, one could be a hidden gem, worth far more than its face value. Today, we're about to unlock the story of one such coin that has stunned collectors and shocked auction houses, the United States of America Jefferson nickel 5 cent from the year 1990. This isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of how overlooked everyday objects can hold extraordinary value, and this one has turned heads in the numismatic world for all the right reasons. The Jefferson nickel has been in continuous production since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel and featuring the iconic profile of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side. The reverse, of course, showcases Monticello, Jefferson's elegant Virginia estate. While millions of these nickels were minted year after year, and the design remained mostly unchanged until 2004, what makes the 1990 Jefferson nickel so fascinating isn't its commonality, but the extreme rarity of pristine, high-grade examples that have somehow survived more than 3 decades without the slightest trace of wear. This year's coin is often overlooked by even seasoned collectors, but as you'll soon discover, that would be a costly mistake. The Mint produced over 1 billion Jefferson nickels in 1990, between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. At first glance, that makes it seem like the 1990 nickel is about as far from rare as you can get. But quantity doesn't always equal value. What truly matters in the world of coin collecting is quality, specifically, the state of preservation, clarity of detail, and rarity of certain features. Enter the concept of mint state and full steps. A mint state Jefferson nickel is one that has never been in circulation and retains its original luster and strike. Now take that a step further with the full steps designation, a grading term used when the steps on Monticello, located on the reverse of the coin, are fully visible with 5 or 6 distinct lines. That may sound simple, but in reality, very few nickels make the cut. Even fewer from the 1990 series meet both criteria. Now, why is that so rare? Well, it comes down to the minting process. Over time, the dyes used to strike coins degrade, losing their ability to produce sharp, clear images. As a result, most 1990 nickels show only partial steps, soft detail, or small imperfections. Add in decades of rough handling, from pocket wear to being clinked in jars, and the chances of finding one in perfect condition plummet dramatically. Only a tiny handful of 1990 Jefferson nickels have ever surfaced with flawless preservation, sharp strikes, and all the steps of Monticello fully defined. These elite specimens are like finding a diamond in the rough, a common object transformed into a rare and highly sought-after treasure. The rarity of such coins, combined with a growing interest in modern-era collectibles, has caused values to skyrocket. Collectors who once focused only on older, pre-war coins are now turning their eyes to newer decades, recognizing that condition and uniqueness are often more important than age. And in the world of the Jefferson nickel, the 1990 issue has emerged as one of the most surprising stars. It's a reminder that even coins from the not-so-distant past can pack a punch when it comes to value, if you know what to look for. Those who have been lucky enough to discover a top-graded 1990 nickel, especially one graded MS67 or higher with full steps, are sitting on something incredibly special. Imagine the scene at a high-profile coin auction. An unassuming nickel rests under glass, its humble face belying its true rarity. The room buzzes with anticipation as collectors recognize the unicorn before them. Bidding starts modestly, then climbs fast as seasoned pros and passionate amateurs alike fight for a chance to own what few even knew existed. The auctioneer's voice rises, the gavel is poised, and then, sold. That modest little coin, one that could have once been sitting in a coffee shop tip jar or forgotten in a glove box, sells for an eye-watering price. Not 5 cents. Not even $500. But an unbelievable $60,000. Yes, that's $60,000 for a Jefferson nickel minted in 1990. The next time you find a nickel in your change, don't toss it aside or drop it in the nearest jar. Take a closer look, examine the strike, check the steps on Monticello, inspect its surface. You might just be holding on to a hidden piece of history. The 1990 Jefferson nickel teaches us a powerful lesson. Sometimes, the most ordinary-looking things hold the most extraordinary value. Top 5. Imagine for a moment that you're standing in line at a grocery store. You reach into your pocket and hand the cashier a few coins, among them, a nickel from the year 2000. To most people, it's just another 5-cent piece, barely worth a second glance. But what if I told you that this little coin, seemingly so ordinary and easy to overlook, could actually be worth a small fortune? Yes, hidden within your pocket change could be a Jefferson nickel 5-cent from the year 2000 that carries a secret, one that has caught the attention of collectors across the nation and stunned the numismatic world with its unexpected value and rarity. The Jefferson nickel is one of the most enduring coins in American history, introduced in 1938 and still in production today. It features the iconic profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, and the elegant design of his Monticello estate on the reverse. While most of these coins have circulated so widely they've lost any chance of being valuable, every now and then, a rare example escapes the wear and tear of daily life and becomes something far more precious than anyone would imagine. The Jefferson nickel minted in the year 2000 is one of those surprising treasures, a coin that has transformed from simple currency into a high-value collector's item due to its exceptional condition, mint errors, and collector demand. Let's take a closer look at what makes the 2000 Jefferson nickel so special. For one, it's important to understand that millions of nickels were minted in the year 2000 at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. On the surface, that makes it seem common, even mundane. But in the world of coin collecting, quantity doesn't always determine value. Condition, detail, and anomalies do. Coins graded as mint state, and especially those with the coveted full steps designation, meaning the steps on Monticello are clearly and sharply struck, are what every collector dreams of. But achieving such perfection isn't easy. The dies used to strike coins can wear out, and as a result, many coins leave the mint with soft, blurry details. Only a tiny fraction emerge in near flawless condition, and even fewer retain their pristine state for decades. In addition to condition, there's another factor that elevates the 2000 Jefferson nickel into a whole new league: minting errors. Errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on the wrong metal planchet are incredibly rare and highly sought after. These accidental variations are often caught and destroyed by the mint, but when one escapes into circulation, it becomes a numismatic anomaly, commanding attention and big money from serious collectors. Some 2000 nickels feature these rare errors, making them even more desirable and dramatically boosting their market value. Now picture this: a 2000 Jefferson nickel, never circulated, its surface still shining with its original luster, the lines of Monticello's steps crisply defined as if struck yesterday. Combine that with a unique error, perhaps a misaligned die or a rare off-metal strike, and what you have is more than a coin. It's a museum-worthy piece of American history. Collectors from around the world scour online auctions, estate sales, and coin shows hoping to uncover such a rarity. When one appears, it ignites a bidding frenzy, and the final sale price can be staggering. This may sound too good to be true, but it's not just fantasy. It's reality. A select few 2000 Jefferson nickels have indeed commanded jaw-dropping prices due to their immaculate preservation and rarity. One such specimen, verified and graded by a top-tier authentication service, recently caught the eye of a passionate collector willing to go to great lengths to add it to their collection. And they did just that. by spending an incredible $40,000. That's right, $40,000 for a 5-cent coin minted in the year 2000. A coin that could easily go unnoticed by the average person, yet holds immeasurable value in the right hands. So the next time you're handed a handful of change, don't be so quick to dismiss the nickels. Take a moment, look closely, and appreciate the details. You just might be holding a piece of American numismatic history. Because in the world of coin collecting, the ordinary often hides the extraordinary, and that unassuming Jefferson nickel in your pocket could be the key to a fortune waiting to be discovered.